What's up, everybody? We got No Masters 2, Real Talk 102, and this one here is a Byrd Ting. Yes, a Byrd Ting, a Robert C. Byrd thing. Yeah. Now, my little hometown of Huntington, West Virginia, Mr. Robert C. Byrd has a bridge, and I think he has a medical wing in Marshall University, somewhere over there. But he's got his name all over buildings in West Virginia. Again, it's a Byrd Ting. His name is all over West Virginia. Um, he is a well-known racist, um, longest-serving member of Congress at one point in time. I think he may still be um, holding the record for that. But for Marshall University to name a part of their medical wing after Mr. Byrd, for the city of Huntington, West Virginia to name a bridge after Mr. Byrd. The question that I ask is, what are we honoring? What are we honoring? When we put that man's name on the bridge, on the medical wing, and all over the other things he's a part of in West Virginia, what exactly are we saying? Like, what are you honoring? Could it be this? In 1944, I got my notes here. In 1944, Mr. Byrd basically stated that he will not fight in the armed forces beside Negroes, and that he'd rather see Old Glory trampled in dirt and him never to rise again than to see his land degraded by the blackest specimen from the wilds. And this particularly sticks out for me because in 1994, 50 years later, when he's 77 years old, I think, he renounces this and says it was foolish of him, and he was young and he made a mistake, and he's reformed now. But so many minorities, not just blacks, but Hispanic, so many minorities, yeah, a lot of whites as well, because we are all in this together, because this is a economic thing as well as a racial thing. You understand? If they can't play the economics game with you, then they're going to play the race card. If they can't play the race card, they're going to play the economics. Not only uh, he just doesn't like poor people either, um, at all. He also had a position where he has stated that you can, and this was against an anti-poverty legislation. In a debate, he stated, "We can take the people out of the slums, but we cannot take the slums out of the people." And these are his thoughts, and that plays back into his position, where he feels only a certain class of people, a rich, a uber rich, as Mr. Byrd likes to call it, outstanding people, people in high authority positions, things of that, good, solid, all around people, as he says, whatever that qualifies as. These positions that he takes, this is a passionate position to take, very passionate to take. Those are the words of someone that feels that in the soul, in his heart, for you to say that you'd rather die in that, the, the nation as you know it just be completely torn to pieces, you'd rather die and see that happen than fight alongside people of color. So for you to say that, that's to your heart. You ready to lay your life. You'd rather lay your life down and die than to fight next to a colored man. And remember, he had one of the longest tenures in Congress. He had friends. He wasn't alone. He wasn't the only person that thought the way he thought. And then people want to throw up, oh, he bought millions to West Virginia. Poor old West Virginia, he bought millions and millions and millions of dollars to West Virginia. He did such great things. He said he's sorry. He's sorry. You know, that's not going to cut it. Who benefited from all of that money he brought poor old West Virginia? That's the question you got to ask. Who benefited the most? What companies benefited the most? What companies grew the most under his tenure? You got to go to the economic part of it as well. We know he's a racist, period. Then you go to the economic part. And then we come back to me again asking you, Marshall University, City of Huntington, why are we honoring somebody who's clearly racist? But hey, wild and wonderful, baby. It's where I'm from. Okay? Wild and wonderful. Wild and wonderful. Byrd once wrote to the KKKs. I don't know how many K's it is. I don't care. Uh, the Grand Wizard that the Klan is needed today as never before, and I'm anxious to see its rebirth here in West Virginia and in every state in this great nation. You know, you got to put to every state in this great nation. He said that. Anxious and rebirth were the real words that stuck to me. See, he's using a lot of words that let me know that he really felt this with his soul, with every fiber of his being. You understand? Cool. Anxious is like he can't wait to start it, like he's ready. You know, he can anticipate the fun of just terrorizing Negroes and undesirables. Like, you got to understand how fun that must have been for him to, wake up in the morning concocting plans to terrorize, you know, the minority populations. He got a rise out of that. He had to. For you to say that you'd rather die than serve next to a colored man, how do you apologize for that? How do you apologize for your policy? You didn't want us to have the right to vote. You didn't want minorities to have the right to vote. You voted against the Civil Rights Act. Civil rights, just to have normal civil rights, to be able to go in public, date who you want to date, eat where you want to eat, work where you just simple rights. He was against that. But he apologized. But all of his actions showed you the actions of a man who had hate in his heart. And they say with age comes wisdom, but it's hard for me to believe after 77 years of life and living one way and thinking one way. You, at 77 years, baby, that pot roast is done. You feel me? And at 77 years to change and reform, there's no way you can make up for the 77 years of hate that you spewed out. There's no way. There's no balance to that. You were in a position of power. You used your power to keep down minority groups. But again, Marshall University, you guys feel like, or whoever his colleagues over there. I think he got an honorary degree from Marshall. He has friends over there who share in his views as well, who think that minorities and those who aren't economically um, at that level with them, they feel like, we're undesirable, you know, and this all spills into even more stuff. Just having his name up there, it's a symbol. It's a symbol. It's like McDonald's. You see McDonald's symbol, and you automatically think, okay, McDonald's. You think Big Mac, correct? It's a symbol. It means something. It signifies something. Like Batman in the movies, when his symbol comes in there, that signifies something. That means something. It's the same thing with this Confederate crap. It's the same thing with these Confederate flags and all this heritage and this culture and all of that stuff. Just because it's heritage and culture don't mean that it's the right heritage, the right culture to have. You understand? It's offensive. It's overly offensive to the point that displaying stuff like that, you know what you're saying. You know, myself, I had an encounter with a racist in Daytona Beach. I'm coming from my room, going to the elevator, hit the elevator, and if you know me, you know I'm a silly dude. You know, if I see somebody and we look at each other, I'm gonna say what's up. That's just who I am. So, waiting for the elevator. Elevator opens up. It's me and this white guy. I look, I'm like, what's up, bro? He looks at me crazy, like he just seen a ghost, and quickly looks at me, looks me up and down, and hits the corner. As he's turning, I just see like 4 or 5 huge swastikas all over his back. All type of derogatory stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just thinking to myself, like, you know, why go all the way out of the way to be overtly offensive in that manner? I mean, it's your body. Do what you want. Don't get me wrong. It's your body.